Hi everyone, welcome to DevSec.
Yo.
So today, me and Austin are going to be sharing some of our random projects that we've worked on. A lot of automation jank, but also other random cool projects we've worked on. Yeah, so this is hopefully going to be fun and interesting. Also, we have a mock coming up on the 9th. That is this Saturday. That's this Saturday from noon till 6 p.m.-ish. And that's made by Professor Cody. So you should sign up. It'll be fun. Yeah, in person, snacks, all the good stuff.
Where's the sign up? Where's the sign up link?
Sign up is in Discord.
What's the Discord?
Right here.
You already have a team?
Under announcements.
Is there still gonna be a person component? Okay, cool.
There will be for us. Yeah, so with that, anyway. Also, yeah, cool. Yeah, so sign up for that. So, automation stuff. As some of you might know, we have the DevSec schedule thing, right? That's like a cool schedule. Oh, I can actually show you. So if you go to schedule.devsec.club, which most of you probably don't know exists, there's this cool schedule thing here with everything that we're doing that's been planned out. And it does change quite a bit.
You know you're doing next week.
So,
Yo, it doesn't work.
yeah. So, fun schedule, it has to be HTTP, I think.
Oh, you have to do.
So we have a schedule, right?
Cool.
And in that schedule, we have a sheet that has all of the activities that we've ever done from last year when me and Shane decided to reorganize everything into courses. So I used a bunch of fun stuff to make that work. So we have our big course list, and instead of having to type stuff in more than one place, you can just use the code, and it uses lookups to figure out where data is supposed to come from. It uses these lookups. Look at that, I got my laser back. Yeah, so then there's more fun stuff behind that. So behind this list, we have this column right here for folder. And there's a Google Drive folder somewhere on the internet that has all of our slides in it. And in that folder, I didn't want to have to go add the folder link each time there's a new event. So I wrote a teeny bit of code, not a lot, a few lines, and then had that run every time someone opens the sheet. So it scans from this Google Drive folder, looks for folders with that code in their name, and then just writes the link into the folder list. Kind of fun. Now that's really useful because when I'm scheduling the stream, I don't want to have to go to YouTube and click schedule stream and then fill in all the data and then type out the announcements by hand. Also, embedded announcements look way cooler. So I wrote a bot, and that bot goes and takes this spreadsheet, this is the ID for that spreadsheet, and pulls all the cool information from it, schedules a stream, sets the thumbnail to it, and publishes announcements. Cool?
Paste.
All right, awesome. Thank you, John. Yeah, so that was really fun and has saved me a ton of time. But sometimes I forget to run it because it's still all manually run and it's not fully automated yet. Mostly because we'll run it and then it'll do stuff like this, where we forgot to put the room here, and then I'll go and change that and add the room and then post it. Yeah. You all liking this? No?
I like the
It's
idea
awesome.
of not doing busy work, yeah. It's pretty cool.
All right, cool. So this is where I think it gets really interesting. So in IA Lab, there's a lot of VApps that we are kind of in charge of because they just kind of gave us admin access to a whole sub-org in DSU's IA Lab.
Sounds like a good idea.
Thank you, Johnny. You're right, it is a wonderful idea. Nothing could possibly go wrong. So as of my last scan, we only had 50 VApps or something, not too many. Yeah, so I wrote a bunch of scripts that deal with cleaning this up and stuff. So this script, I can just give it a search string, like anything that's expired, and an action to do with it, in this case delete. And then this is me running it earlier today and deleting all of these expired apps. So some of these are from a presentation someone gave. Some of these are people that, like to use lab resources, like to use school resources and waste school resources and not properly dispose of their VApps when they're done with them.
I would never do anything like that. Neither would us.
Yeah, so I also have a bunch of other scripts that go along with this one to like automate the deployment of an actual mock environment. Those I'm not going to share because that code is very bad, and they work about 20% of the time, but it's a strong 20%. Yeah. So Eric has a nice script to automate deployment of environments where it pushes stuff out like one at a time. And I just made mine async, slapped in some asynchronous code, and it works great 20% of the time. But that 20% I can push out an environment in about 10 minutes. Yeah, really fun. Like this code's async, which means that it can delete everything in, 12 seconds or whatever? Yeah, super fun. So the other fun automation jank is Discord. So I really like Discord, and Discord has great webhook support, which means that I webhook everything to Discord. So in this case, that's any logins on either of our infrastructure servers, the VPN server or our web server, in addition to all IA lab events in the DefSec org. So this is really fun during mocks, because this is just like a constant feed of people getting screen tickets. Yeah, that's really fun. It's also fun to see when people are working on stuff. So sometimes I'll get a ping from someone working on something at like 4 in the morning. Normally me, but yeah. Also with this, all of these events are, of course they're viewable from the web interface, but I don't like that, so I just, integrated them all. Austin?
All right, so now for my turn. Last year when Gaelin gave a presentation on like Discord webhooks, he gave me some code, he got me hooked. So this is some examples from my server of how I set it up. So I named some bots. So like there's the useless stat bot and there's Arthur the authorizator, whatever I named him. But every day the random stat bot would give me some like stuff like, oh, what's the current uptime? It would show me the CPU usage. So if I saw if I saw it 100%, I'd know my server's crashing. Or I could see what service is causing it. And my personal favorite is I can see the top SSH creds of the day. So I recompile the SSH from source to like, I kind of put a backdoor that every time someone tries a username and password, it saves it to a file. And it also obviously like leaves off my user and password, so that way I don't accidentally just dox myself. But so every time there's a failed login, it'll put it right here. So that way, it's kind of cool to see what the most commonly used password is. So like one is probably like bots. Either I talked to, I think it was Andrew, I found it interesting as well. It's either like a bot testing that if your SSH works or not, or if it's just like someone screwed up scripting and it just breaks. But you can see like the top 5 are root, user, pi, the passwords 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, root, admin, and raspberry, because everybody likes putting Raspberry Pis on the internet. Totally not me for this as well. I can see for Arthur, there's like shows SSH events and escalation events and like log off and log ons and how they logged in. So I think that's pretty cool. It's pretty helpful when it comes to like, I have a tunnel user. So if I have like a Pi set up when I want to tunnel outside of DSU's network, if I plug in and I don't see it log on here, then I know my like Pi is not connected to the internet or something went wrong. And that'll come more into play with other projects I talk here in a bit about how I set up SSH tunneling for that and stuff. So, any questions? All right, that's mine again. So some other things I set up were a stalker bot and the ban hammer. I still like the unique names, but for ban hammer, I have a failed man setup. I think Gaelin gave a presentation or someone a couple weeks ago, but you can see that it shows their IP, what jail they got banned on, which is like the service, and you can see the country of origin, which is kind of cool. And you can also see how far until they're unbanned. Discord has this feature where you can like include a day, so you can see unbanned in 7 days, and then once that passes, it'll say like unbanned 3 days ago and stuff. You can see the fraud score, which is from an API I'm using, where it looks up the IP address, and it'll tell you like is that IP malicious, or if it was some person like possibly got banned from, or possibly me who got accidentally banned guessing my password wrong, which is all kind of cool. And on the left is I added a module to Apache that shows me every page someone visits Obviously, I muted this channel so that way I don't get constant spams. But I find it really interesting to see like what kind of bots are on the internet. You can so the user agent looks legit because it's just what you'd expect from a normal browser. However, most of this is like most likely bot activity because you can see they're scanning things under the my website that don't exist or things that you wouldn't normally hit as a regular user. So that's all about that.
So I also do this, integrating everything to Discord, of course. So I likewise have the alerts set up for people that access my website, except mine actually ping me, which I have been regretting more and more lately. And I also have a nice summary of some stats at the end of the day. Kind of fun stats to see, like 300 people getting banned from my server each day. Well, 147 unique IPs getting banned from my server each day. Yeah, fun stuff. And yeah, so I can actually show this. So right here, this is our channel of every IOApp event ever. So that's really fun. And then here is my live channel of people getting IP banned from my server. So if anyone wants their IP address to show up here, you can try to SSH into my server. Figure guns. No one wants to do that? Okay, cool. Are you going to do it? Okay. And then I also have, of course, the login spam of every time someone's logged in, which is, you know, always me, and the fun summaries. So that's all of our semi-related to security projects. Now let's move on to other more enjoyable projects. So TechSpot. A few years ago, me and my friend created a TechSpot. So if you text that number, hint, hint, someone should text it, then it will send you a joke every day at about 8 p.m. Central. And the code behind that is actually pretty simple. It's about 50 lines of Python total. And that includes like responding to messages that people write, even like auto spam detection. So if numbers are sending us texts that are spammy and have like URLs, or they're like, hey Bob, you owe me money, give me money. We get a lot of those. Then yeah, we have spam detection, and then we ban them. And we have a lot of very satisfied customers, as you can tell. For our wonderful jokes, that's an example from our database. And I censored the rest of them so that you actually would have to text the number to find out. So this one's pretty fun because we have a big database of jokes, about 1,000 jokes, and I can tell you texted it. Awesome. And a big database of users. And originally, it was just like a text file of each, and we were getting problems where people would get the same joke like multiple days in a row, and didn't like that. So I implemented this system where we log every single joke that's ever been sent, and yeah, really simple, but makes a lot of a difference because now you don't get repeat jokes at all. Super fun. It also generates, or it gives each person a random joke.
What if you subscribe for more than 3 years?
Then you're sad. Also, it pings me on Discord, because of course it does, and that's when we import more jokes. We have a database of about 10,000 jokes that are waiting to be read through and made sure that they're not like political propaganda.
Aw, dang it. That was my next question.
We have a filter on like when we're importing jokes, but we still miss some, so we have to go manually review them to make sure that it's not like hate speech or political propaganda. Yeah.
So you're saying your jokes are outsourced?
Yeah.
Okay.
We scrape Reddit and other good sources of content.
I see why you have to vet them.
It was initially found when we just found a CSV on GitHub of like 1,000 or 500 funny jokes or something like that, and imported that CSV, and of course they were all horrible. And then we downloaded a bigger archive of a few thousand bad jokes from Reddit, and yeah, it's great. It's really fun. It only took like 20, 30 hours probably. So.
Dang.
So this is my cool project. Have you ever seen those friendship lamps on the internet where like they're internet connected and you tap on one, like the other will go at the same time? So I decided they're like $100 a piece, and I decided I could probably make it for the same amount of money and take significantly more hours. Not necessarily faster or better, but you know, experience along the way is what matters. But So you can see I have one set up in the back of the room and I have another one here. So if I tap it and if it works, they either change or have a stroke.
Based.
It's mainly because they're taped in place right now, but there's a sensor on it, so if you tap it, it'll like send a socket request to my server, and then it'll respond, and it'll send it'll go up to the server and then back down and update the other lamp. So if you tap either of them, in theory, they'll like change to be the same color, which is pretty cool. So that way, across the even the world, they're both connected to the internet. If you tap on one, they'll kind of work.
Based.
It works most of the time.
There's like 12 different colors they're looping through, but it's that's not too complicated to set up. It's like a service running on each, so that way they start up and boot, and then from there, it just constantly connects to the server, and then it's just waiting for like a 1 or like a 1 through 12 to come, and that's the color it updates to. So if you have any questions or want to know how to set it up, feel free to ask me. I think Gaelin's LED panel is gonna be a lot cooler, so.
So I thought of this past weekend, not at all related to giving this presentation, but we were running out of content that was security related, and we're like, what the hell, why not add our other projects? So this is a 16 by 32. This is a 16 by 32 LED panel, and it says currently Nord on it, and
What does it say before that?
I don't know.
It says cancel Nord.
Cancel Nord.
Cancel Nord.
good.
Why?
So
The gamer.
gonna draw.
No, it says that. Who's erasing it?
I can't see
Sounds
that.
like
That's not even.
So this light panel has like a clock on it and some weather data, but it's also controllable from anyone who has the right web link. So if you go to lights.gael.in, then you can come and write random pixels to this display that I leave in my room. Yeah, so that's fun. So like someone sent me a good morning message and someone else
That's
wrote
actually very nice.
something obscene on it.
Yeah,
So
just focus on the nice.
you can just write to random pixels. Yeah, which is really fun. Nice collaboration project. But behind the scenes, what's actually happening, there we go, is we have all that running on my Pi. And then since it's currently on DSU's network right now, and you can't just like access this from the public internet, I need to get this to the public internet. So there's an SSH tunnel to my home server, which definitely looks like this. That's what my home server looks like.
Nice.
Yeah, 4 server racks. And there, that's where lights.gal.in, the actual link to that page, goes to. Then I have Nginx running on my home server that does the HTTPS termination so that I can have an HTTPS connection because it's very important to secure people writing to random pixels on my device that's publicly accessible. And then from there, it's sent unencrypted over this encrypted tunnel, so still encrypted, back to the Pi, and stuff's updated on the Pi. I put the parts list for that down there. It's a little bit expensive, but that's just based on the type of matrix and controller I got. You could definitely find a cheaper one. That was about probably $50 of supplies plus a Pi and the power brick, which I already had. So yeah, super fun, small project. Didn't really take that long. The hardest part was soldering it, and I did not melt any tables in Beacon. Or my fingers. Feel the need to reassure you I did not melt my fingers. At all. Yeah, so fun project. Any questions? No? Yes.
I was actually looking at doing something as well with the Adafruit boards. Can you string them together?
Yeah, so you can link them together up to about, 64 by 128. So you can get a 64 by 64 board, but beyond that, it starts to get into some visual problems because the instead of like neopixels where you set the color and then it just stays forever, these ones you actually need to be refreshing it every however often.
Sure.
Constantly writing to them. So if you have too many pixels, then it starts to turn into like an old TV type of effect. Yeah. Awesome. Austin?
So last year, if you were on the main street of campus at all, you might have seen in the Richardson window a QR code. So that was me, I had it like set up in my dorm room. I decided it'd be kind of cool because I had a street-facing window. To why not set up a QR code in it for people to scan? Well, when I was running for senator, this was kind of useful because people were able to scan it and like sign my form, so that way I could like run and stuff. But you can see like the steps I went through. You can start out. I printed one page of like a part of a QR code, hung at my window, just to see like how big the each pixel was, and to, like kind of gauge if this is like viable at all, or if even like worth like gluing the rest of them together to see if it was possibly scannable. And when I hung it up, it was surprisingly like large enough to possibly like for the phone to read if you zoomed in. So as you can see in the second picture, I went to work taping a bunch of 8x10 pieces of paper together. I had to cut like edges off and stuff, so it was kind of a pain in the butt. I think there's about like 5x5 I had to go through and tape together on my floor. I'm not standing on a chair in this photo, but it's quite large. I think it was like this big, so it took a while to do. The third photo is from the outside. You can see my roommate, Johnny, second semester, totally didn't mind our window was permanently blocked by a QR code, but what do you do? So when you scanned it, when it wasn't trying to get you to vote for me to be senator, it was this remote picture. So I programmed it, so I found some code for JavaScript. When you click an image, it would grab the pixels of like where you were, and I made like an array of where each button was, and whatever button you were closest to, if it was within like 20 pixels, it would send that request. Well, I didn't know a better way to make it like asynchronous when you click the button, so it actually sent the request in an iframe, so that way it didn't reload the page every single time you clicked the button, which made it significantly faster. But so when you clicked it, it would update the color on the window like almost instantly, which was really cool. Which to actually get the remote commands to like send, I went by and clicked. I had like an IR receiver and sender, and I went through and like programmed each button until like an array got their hex code, because each IR like has its own related hex that you can resend again, and it's like the equivalent. So I had like the LED string hanging in my window with like the IR receiver sent right here, or like right here, and then I had my Pi with the IR sender set up right next to it. So when you scanned it, when you click the button, it would send the update through IR to be received from the lights, which is pretty cool. So the final image is the GIF of what it looked like at night. Sadly, you couldn't quite see the LEDs during the day because it's just so bright outside, and I didn't get bright enough LEDs. I was hoping I could set it up this year again. However, I didn't get like a cool straight-facing window. So if anyone has a straight-facing window next year, I think it'd be kind of cool to do something similar. I did learn a few things along the way, like QR codes should have like a 20% border around the outside. So you can see here, there's like no border between the brick and the QR code, which made it really difficult to scan on some phones because it needs like this buffer area just to make it easier to recognize just by different scanners. So it was still scannable. A lot of people struggled, but like making adjustments, like making the QR code actually smaller would made it better, even though it sounds counterintuitive. But overall, I think it was a really cool project, and I learned a lot. So
Yeah, I think that's all of the specific projects that we had to share. So thanks for coming, and you should do your own projects and make cool things and then present about them and tell me about them. Yeah, if you want to hear about other cool projects we did, then yeah, talk to us. Or if you want like the source code for most of these, not all of them. Not giving you my IALab deploy script.
Dang.
Because one, it's open source already, and two, it should not be open source. It should be buried,
Where can I find it then?
destroyed. What's up,
Oh,
Tom?
dang it.
I just want to acknowledge your sign and say it's really cool and say hi back.
Thank you, Tom.
Oh, based.
You have projects?
I only facilitate people doing projects. I don't actually do projects.
Oh, that's fair.
you guys have a project meeting coming up
So I have
soon?
a bunch of equipment you guys should want to work on. But yeah, I have an activity at 7. You can win a gift card or just praise.
Praise and based. Cool.
And next week you learn how to play casino games.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Anyways, so yeah, unless anyone wants a demo of any of the other things or anything else, I think that's it.
Yeah.